Hey there guys, I am Laddie, and today is the day that Jesus was Jesus was resurrected. If you're Christian or whatever, and you know, yeah, good on you. But I was trying to think of a video to like a related video. Like, I've already made a video how to deal with family gatherings, because Easter's a family gathering. Go check that out in the iCard if you want to know about how to deal with family gatherings with your family. That was a bit of a joke video though. But I was trying to think what else, and I was thinking maybe I could do questions that religious people like ask me about the whole transgender thing. But I thought, like, the questions that they ask me, it doesn't matter if you've got religious beliefs or you're from any range of like religious like backgrounds or whatever. People always ask me the same kind of questions, and I honestly don't think, because there are plenty of religious people who are so accepting, or they just don't care about, you know, transgender people. And obviously there are some that are very, you know, strongly against it, but I feel like in general, it doesn't matter what religion you are, you can either be, you know, you might ask the same questions for and against transgender people. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to get up these questions and I'm going to answer a few of them. So I wanted to make a video. This video is answering questions that I found online. I'll show you where I get them from in a minute. Answering questions that I found online that people want to ask to transgender people. And this is my pre-T video, so this is like the main video I'm going to make before my transition, where I answer kind of questions to do with being before transition. And then I'm going to make another video after my transition, which will be years in the future, but like, you know, it'll still be happening on like what it's more like to be after a transition. At the moment, like, just some of the questions, I just kind of want, this is going to be, I know I've joked about it before, like family friendly laddie or whatever, people are joking, but I do actually want this to be a family friendly one, where the kind of questions that your parents may ask you on it, because you, or your family or whatever, because your family on days like today on Easter, if you're trans and you're kind of out to your family or you're kind of open about it, people will ask you these questions, probably. Family who are curious or family who are like, you know what I mean, they will probably ask you these questions. So if anyone who does watch this wants to maybe show their family or anything, certain parts of it, because later on it does go into speaking about like questions where they ask you about like what's down there and stuff like that. So obviously, I don't know, I guess that could be awkward if you watch that with your parents, but you can always just show them certain parts and show them certain questions that I'll answer and you can answer, because everyone's got a different experience. First, I get mine from a good old thing called BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed, love a cheeky bit of BuzzFeed in the morning. But they ask, which bathroom do you use? In college, I usually use the disabled toilets, because honestly, like, I hate when I have to go into, it's just a feeling like I'm fine now walking over to the disabled toilets, going into them, using them and going back out. But when I began it just felt like I was being separated from everyone else. I felt separated at first, and now I'm more comfortable going in the multi-use disabled toilets. So I go in them now, but the one thing that really annoys me is when those are full, because sometimes those are full, sometimes people are in those. I can't expect to like have those free all of the time. I have to go over to the other two toilets, and if we're going to talk about if there aren't disabled toilets anywhere, I go into the female ones, because at the moment I kind of look female, and I can understand people on my YouTube, they always comment, oh well, you're still a girl or whatever, you look so feminine though. Like, you know, you don't think I know that. I'm not spending a bunch of money to go private just, you know, just if I look like a dude already, or if I was comfortable with myself. I actually use the female ones at the moment, because honestly, I mean, I've been in the men's a few times, but like, it's just how other people react to me. Like, I get some funny looks when I go into the females' toilets. Men's, I think it's even worse because, like, people know me. Even though people in college know I'm transgender, the people who don't know I'm transgender are like, why are you in my toilet? Be in here. Right, next question. When is the surgery? So when is the surgery? It's a common misconception. When people say the surgery, like, everyone in media is always like, oh yeah, the transgender surgery, this surgery, the big transgender surgery. It's not one thing. It, like, happens over, like, so many different, like, the surgery is so many different things. You have to go through hormones, you have to go through this and that, you have to go through hormones, top surgery, bottom surgery, different kinds of tests and things that they have to do on you. And for me, I'm only thinking of doing top surgery, and bottom surgery I will wait for the future, but top surgery, like keyhole surgery on your chest, I was thinking of doing that like as soon as I can after, during my transition on testosterone. As soon as I can, I want to get that sorted. Luckily, I'm not too big on the top half. Are you sure you aren't just gay? So I've had people ask this for me. Are you sure you aren't just gay? Like, are you sure you aren't just a lesbian? I remember the good old days when I was a lesbian. When I was, back in the day when I thought I was, because I thought to myself, like, oh, I'm dressing masculine, that means I must be just a butch lesbian. I don't really like to use that, but like, that's what I thought I was when I was dressing masculine. But no, I'm not, because, you know, gender is a totally different thing to, like, your sexual orientation. Oh, it'd be so much easier just being gay. Honestly, I wouldn't even call being gay easy, because it's not a game of, like, the games we're playing, it's not a game of, like, who's got it harder in life game. Like, I see a lot of people in my comments playing, like, oh, you don't know what it's like to have this minorities problem. You don't know what it's like. You don't know. But, like, it's not a game of, like, who's more oppressed. Like, we're not playing some game of, like, who's got more oppression, dudes. But I do, for me personally, I found it easier being, having a, you know, sexual orientation of lesbian, of liking, you know, of lesbian, rather than being actually trans. Just in my personal experience, that's what I found easier. But damn, I wish I could go back, but I'd be living a lie. Okay, I changed location. But people ask, disclosure warning, this speaks about if you're with family members and you find it awkward, this speaks about downstairs area. What do you have down there? So people often ask that. So people ask, what do you have down there, or do you have male peni? That's plural. Hopefully you don't have plural of that. I don't really know, like, I always say, well, of course I don't, I'm only pre-T, like, I don't have any of the surgery down there or anything. I can understand that being a question for post-T, which, you know, I'll probably answer in the video in a few years' time. But, like, people always say, like, do you or are you going to get, you know, male stuff down there? And I'm always, they're like, well, like, the surgeries aren't well developed, and no, I don't. Like, it would be so nice if I could just have what I want down there, but it isn't that way, sadly enough. It isn't that way. I can't just be like, yes, wake up one morning and be like, look at me, I have a peni. I wish. Okay, so what's your real name, people often ask, because people at college know me as Toby, or Tobias, or whatever you want to say. Toby is my, yeah, that's what everyone calls me. And I have had some people ask me, like, what are you called beforehand? And honestly, I tell them, but, you know, obviously I can understand why some people don't want to be asked that, but I tell them. Tia was my original name, by the way. And Tia was a different person. Like, you don't change as a person. There's that question that people often get, like, do you change? do you become a different person when you go through it? Are you suddenly a different person? No, you're not suddenly a different person, but for me, I haven't even gone through testosterone, and just me coming out as trans, I feel like a different person. Like Tia was so salty and so bitchy all the time. I'm not kidding. People at college, they told me that they didn't like Tia. Like, people keep telling me, like, yeah, Tia was a bitch. I didn't really like Tia much, you know. Tia was kind of an arsehole. And I was like, yeah, honestly, I agree, because I've chilled out. People have said I've chilled out so much more now. I've kind of, like, discovered who I am and what I want to be, and I'm on a plan. I'm going somewhere. You know, that is my real name, but I can understand why people don't want to be asked that, because... Oh, no, also, not my real name. It's, like, not even my real name, because people's real names, I can understand by law if that is my name, like, by law, and that's what they mean. What's your legal name? They shouldn't ask it anyway, but for me, I don't get too bothered by it. But for other people, I can understand, because it's like invalidating who you are, being like, yeah, but what are you really though? Why don't you try harder to look like a woman or man? So this question, why don't you try harder to look like a woman or man? I've actually got it quite a bit, especially in my comment section. Because most of you are absolutely lovely, right? And even the people who comment like that, you know, not judging you. But a lot of people have been like, yeah, but you're so feminine. You know, like, I can understand, yeah, I'm feminine because I've got or whatever your definition is for feminine. Yeah, I bought a female body. What am I going to do about it? Hence why I'm transgender, like, hence why I have dysphoria. Because, you know, they're like, oh, you're so feminine though, the way that you act. Of course you're not a man, because you act a certain way, you use hand movements and this kind of stuff. Like, that's perceived as very feminine by a lot of people, and the way I act is perceived as feminine. When I went through my transition, I was doing these kind of, you know, the way that I act now, people wouldn't be like, oh, you act like such a female. Like, because it's not, the stuff I do is just like any other guy would do, except I just look and sound like a woman so people see woman. And believe me, I try hard to look like a man. Like, I don't wear a binder nearly every single day. I try and lower my voice every like, all the time, and try and dress like a guy and everything like that. I don't know what dressing like a guy is, just a stereotype. You know, I try and overcompensate for my masculinity. Are you going to change your voice? I've already tried to change my voice myself, like I try and be a bit lower, but whenever I'm exclaiming something, I'm always really feminine. Am I going to try to change my voice? Yeah, that's what testosterone does. It deepens your voice, and honestly, I can't wait. Am I still straight if I want to date you? The BuzzFeed one said it, like, in a more, like, all kind of way. It said it, you know, am I still straight if I want to have the coitus with you? Am I still straight if I want to date you? I'm guessing this is with, yes, yeah, you're still straight if you want to date a trans guy. If a girl wants to date a trans guy, or if a guy wants to date a trans woman, then yeah, you're still straight. But then again, it's relative. Everyone always has a side, and they're like, oh my god, this is true. Some people are like, yeah, you're straight if you want to date a trans guy, and some people are like, no, you're not. But it is relative in people's minds, because in many people's minds, I'm sure I'm wrong. Like, most of the stuff I say, it's all relative, because people will think, no, you're not straight. Some people will think, you know, I think it should be that people think that you're straight, you're still straight if you're a woman, you date a trans guy, if you're a man, you date a trans woman. Like, I think that's what it should be, but in people's mind, that is not the case. So you've just got to understand that people have different opinions, and your opinion, like my opinion that I think all people should think this, isn't necessarily right to all people. Even though I think it should be right, it just isn't always. But hey there guys, it's family-friendly Laddie here. Welcome to the channel. Don't do it, man. Don't do it, man.